This video is about how to set up RStudio for use. You should only have to set up RStudio once. I'm just going to tell you how to basically get it started, and then in a subsequent video I'm going to talk about how to use RStudio to analyze your data. Now, you all, I believe, are using a PC. I'm using a Mac, and so the menu is going to look a little bit different, and some of the aspects of the screen are going to look a little bit different, but I think that you all should be able to figure out where the differences are. So the first time you open up RStudio, you should see something that looks about like this. You have three panes. On the left is what's called the console. This is where you actually do a lot of your work. On the top right, you have a window that tells you about what's in the workspace and also what's in your history of commands. So these tells you about the variables that are in memory right now. And then if you click over to history, it tells you about the history of commands that you've run. And down on the bottom right, you have a window that shows you any plots you've made, and it's also good at showing information about what packages are present. So these are sort of add-ons to R, and gives you a window for help. Now, I should explain real quickly that you're using two programs right now. You're using R and RStudio. R is the actual program that does all of the statistical analysis, makes all of the plots. Essentially, it does all of the heavy lifting. RStudio is what's called an integrated development environment, or IDE, and that's basically just a program that sits on top of R and makes it easier for you to communicate with R. It sort of simplifies the interface between you and R, but the actual work is being done by R. And I'm assuming that with this presentation that you have R and RStudio installed. I should mention that both of these are free and can be downloaded for any computer platform. And it's also worth noting that R is really considered to be the state-of-the-art program for statistical analysis right now. So when you open it up, you'll get these three windows. The first thing that you should do is make use of a neat tool that RStudio has, which is called projects. So the idea is that projects are ways to organize your statistical analysis and your data files. So you should have a project in RStudio for every actual project that you're doing. Now, you all, for the most part, are going to have one project. I've got lots of different projects going, so I have lots of different projects in RStudio. But you should nevertheless set up your one project to organize your files. So the way you do that is you go up to the Project menu item and say Create Project. And I've got an existing directory that I want to put my project in because I have a directory for the this is on my hard drive. I have a directory for all of the files that are associated with this work that I'm doing with you all. So I'm going to put that in this directory. So I say Create Project from existing directory, and I browse over to, let's see, where did I put it? I put it in Dropbox, and Drew, and Malcolm X, and I'm going to say choose that, and it'll automatically name this project after the directory. If you don't have a directory set up for your project, you should go using the Windows Explorer. You should set up a directory and call it Peptidase work or something like that. So then I'll click to create project, and you'll notice that now up in the top of RStudio it says, it gives me the directory that this is in. In this case, it's called Malcolm X, and that tells me the name of the project. And you'll notice also down here, this is listing all of the files that are in that directory. So, once you have that set up, that's the main thing that you need to do. I'll tell you one more thing about RStudio that's very useful. So the console right here is where we actually enter commands. So we can use it sort of like a calculator if we want. We can say 1 + 2, and it'll tell us 3. And of course you can do multiplication, and you can do all kinds of complicated things. We're going to do some commands from the command line, but another very useful thing to do in R is to work from script files. So a script file is just a text file that contains a list of commands that we're going to pass to R more or less in order. And there's going to be a special window for that too. So to make a new script, we go up to File and New and just say R script. and you see this new window is going to open up where the script goes. And we can, the first thing we probably want to do is save the script, so we can get a file, save as, and it should automatically suggest that we save it in the same directory as our project is in. And if that doesn't come up automatically, you should navigate over to the directory that your project's in, because the idea is that all of the scripts and data and output from one project should all be in the same folder. So we're going to save this as introduction script and click save. And then what you can see is that we can type commands into here. So I can say 3 + 4. And when I click enter, nothing happens. And the reason is that this hasn't actually passed the command to the program, to R yet. It's just saving that 3 + 4 in the script file. Now if I put the cursor on that line number 1, and I click run, then you can see that it's run 3 + 4 it's put 3 + 4 in the console, and then it's run that command, and it's told us the answer, which is 7. Another thing we can do, which I do a lot of times, you won't be able to see on the YouTube videos that I press on a Mac, it's command enter, command return. On a PC, it's probably control enter or something like that. And that allows you to run one command at a time. We can also click source, and that runs the entire contents of the script. And you'll see maybe a little bit later why that's a useful thing to do. So that is, those are the main components of RStudio, and we're going to use these in the next video where I explain how to get started analyzing your data.